Hello, 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 my beauties. Let me just actually prop this up a little bit higher. That's better. Oh, and I'm so silly. I'm adjusting my laptop, but really I'm filming from my phone. Hold on. But I see myself on my laptop. So let me get, there we go. Hey, it's Coach Viv. I think I want this down just a little bit more. And this is my new channel. It's my new channel called Exhale Academy. And I am glad you're here if you're watching this on the replay. And excuse me, this is a really impromptu live. I just was like, I'm going live. Wanted to talk a little bit about burnout. I want to talk a little bit about burnout with you. And I don't have a set plan. There's no pre-format here. Hold on. Yeah, that's a little bit better. There's no pre-format here. I just wanted to share with you something that popped into my head as I was watching a video where a woman was talking about the glass ceiling and something she called actually the glass cliff, which is something new, something else. So again, this channel is to help women primarily, though I will work with men as well. But most of my clients are women, and I'm teaching them meditation and mindfulness techniques along with other holistic methods um, that you can do yourself at home to balance your stress. So, this video I was watching, um, I commented to something she said, and this was my advice. So, I want to share some advice with you if you are suffering from burnout, nearing burnout. Okay. I always say I really don't want anybody to actually get to burnout because once you get to a burnout stage, that means that you really may be partially incapacitated for some time, for months to even years. All right. Burnout can be that serious. I suffered from burnout as a professor. I'm not going to go into super detail in this video about it, but I will probably in another video. So I wanted to just speak about one bit of advice that, again, if you feel like you're starting to get burnt out at your job, right? We're talking professional burnout, not from like having 6 kids or, you're over exercising, not that, really kids or, you're over exercising, not that, really related more to work. And and this is the advice I shared is to check that you continue to do your self-care. All right, I know that can sound very superficial. So, what do I mean by self care? I don't mean like getting your nails done or getting, you know, things done to your skin to just look prettier, have smoother skin. I mean self care at the level of things like, and my recommendation, massage therapy. If you have a super stressful job, you're probably being paid fairly well, I would hope. And so I recommend at least once a week getting massage, like just scheduling in massage once a week. Have a standing appointment with a local massage therapist every Saturday morning, every Sunday afternoon, every Friday after work. Okay. This will help to stave off the burnout. So focus on your self care. So when I say self care, I mean things that actually take care of the health, the overall health of your body. So not just superficially, not just facials, not just nail care, not just hair care, but things that take care of your actual physical health. Okay. So that's number one. Focus on the self care because what I have found is when we're nearing burnout, that's what goes. And that is literally part of the definition of burnout. And I'm sharing this with you as someone who only realized that in hindsight, like hindsight, meaning it's happening and you're starting to feel fatigued, you're starting to feel stressed, you're starting to feel obsessed about your work. It's all you think about. You think about work problems, you talk about work problems. And what has stopped happening is the self-care drops off, or it wouldn't be going towards burnout. Does that make sense? Let me know if you're watching this on the replay. Let me know that that makes sense to you. Meaning, you wouldn't really be approaching burnout if the self-care was on par with the level of stress. Okay, so again, think about getting a weekly massage. If you really can't fit it in weekly, at least twice a month. Go for twice a month. You know you have a standing appointment to go get your massage, okay? Because massage really has powerful healing and stress reducing effects. So just build that into your schedule. Hold on one moment. I got to check the cat. All right, the cat is there. It's just going to stare at the back of my head. So the self care. And the other main advice in terms of when you're starting to feel what I call toxic stress is to the self care. And the other thing related to that, the second thing is to continue to do the things that you love. Okay. Continue to do the things that you love. So, what does that mean? When I was suffering from burnout, looking back, I realized I stopped doing things like my yoga practice, right? Or for you, it's going to the gym, right? Maybe for you, it's swimming. Maybe for you, it is, Zumba or some sort of a class that you love to take. Make sure you don't drop out those things that you love, because what they do is they are a counterbalance to the burnout inducing toxic stress. So if you give everything over to work and you stop on there, it's basically like an equation, right? The work, the toxic stress, and then over here is the self-care and the things that bring you joy and pleasure. So you may find, for example, that you stop hanging out with friends, you start pulling back from spending time socializing, right? Because I'm too busy. I'm too busy. They don't understand, right? Now, is it that they don't understand? Okay, hold on. Is it that the friends don't understand, or are they a little bit more in balance with their work? Now, we all have seasons. I understand that there may really be a season where you have to grind a little, you have to hustle a little. That's different, especially if it's a time limited, oh, it's these 2 months. It's these 4 weeks. I'm in high gear. This is my busy season, right? But it's different if it is chronic toxic stress. So again, whatever hobby or thing that you love, maybe you liked watercolor painting, right? Maybe you liked playing tennis with your friends. Whatever it is, check yourself, check that you haven't stopped doing the things you love because work has gotten so intense, because that is a formula for burnout and it's not sustainable. All right. I like that phrase. I think I'm going to use that phrase more in my videos here on Exhale Academy, because sustainability is important, meaning you cannot continue at a certain pace. And so sustainable is important. Sustainable habits, sustainable mindsets, sustainable practices, right? So those are the two. Again, I'm going to repeat them. Practice your self-care daily, if not weekly. Maybe make a list. In fact, let's do this exercise. Make a list, get a pen, and just write down, like, what are 3 things that are for you are self-care. So again, for me, that would be things like meditation. I might even just say 10 minutes of meditation. Another thing, definitely self-care, relieves my stress. I feel better, is massage. So again, see if you can get it weekly or bi-weekly. And then a third thing for me is getting out in nature, is actually literally just going for a walk in nature. Okay. So what I would say is, and what I would say to clients, I mean, again, this would be much more personalized, but in general, what I would say to clients is you've got your list of 3 self-care practices, and make sure that, I would say, at least 3 times a week, right? So 3 self-care 3 times a week minimum. you have one of these. So one could be on Sunday, right? Sunday afternoon or early evening, walk in nature. Wednesday, maybe Thursday, the week's almost ending and you're kind of tired, kind of worn out, go for your massage appointment. Okay, that's your second self-care. And then twice during the week, make sure you meditate. So you've hit all three self-care 3 times a week minimum. And then let's also make a list of things that you love to do. Now, there may be some overlap, right? As I'm looking at this, right? My walk in nature is something I love to do, but it is also literally a self care item, right? I'm getting exercise, getting fresh air, getting the soothing sounds of nature, right? Forest bathing, as the Japanese call it. So, but let's write down more, even think of hobbies or activities that bring you joy. Okay, so make your list. Now, for me, something that I discovered literally on YouTube, a friend shared this with me. Hi, if you're just joining, a friend shared this with me. It's African dance. So I found she had this channel that she shared with me, and they literally had 5 minute videos. They had 15 minutes, and that was like my max because it was so intense, but great, upbeat, music that you couldn't help but feel good about. So African dance for me, 5 to 15 minutes is a hobby. Again, hobby, self-care, they overlap. Something else that brings me joy is making art. So for you, maybe you like painting, maybe you like sketching, maybe you like a craft, right? Maybe you like knitting and you're like, oh my God, I don't have time to knit. That's absurd. But what is it? Don't think about whether you have time to do it. Just make this list, like make 3 things. So I wrote African dance, making art. What else is a hobby or something? What it is you want something that's engrossing. I would say a little bit engrossing to your mind. So maybe massages on my self care, but I wouldn't necessarily put it on this list of hobbies. Something that is engrossing to your mind, and when you're doing it, maybe it's raising particular type of plant, for example. Maybe part of your house you have a bunch of ferns, or you have some specific type of flower that does take a lot of care. Or maybe the hobby is training your dog. Maybe you have a dog and you actually really do like taking the dog out to the park, training it, behavior training. So try to make 3 things, okay, that are hobbies. And then I would say once a week at least for the hobbies, okay? Now you could spin that around. You could do the hobby more than, because for instance, if the hobby is running, right? That could also go in self-care, but if say your hobby is running, then you want to do that more than once a week, right? Just for balancing your body, just for avoiding injuries. You might say, okay, well, that's the one hobby, Viv, that I love, and I want to do that 3 times a week. Okay. And then it does kind of cross into, is that the self-care? It has an aspect of it, but I would say, especially for women, I want you to have something that is also a little more nurturing. So I wouldn't just have exercise be like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I would still have at least one thing from the self-care category. So again, that could be meditation, that could be yoga, that could be getting the massage. So it's almost like if your hobby is sort of intense or demanding in some way, I would say to you as a coach, have something that is nurturing and a little softer and a little bit more balancing, because already if you're super stressed at work, our tendency might be to go for something super assertive. I say that, like, for instance, when I was in New York City, I was popular as a teacher of Ashtanga or power yoga. Now, many driven people, right? You may even do it. You may go to a health club and do like power yoga, Ashtanga, or Vinyasa yoga. Many driven people are drawn to that, and it kind of just tires them out in a good way, and they feel relaxed. Completely understandable. But what I'm saying is, overall, for your health, and well-being, you want to have something that's a little bit softer, or what I would call more yin, to balance all the work. Otherwise, it's all feeding into your burnout, and we don't want that. Okay. Let me know if this was helpful. I'm going to stop the video here because we're hitting about 15 minutes. But let me know if that was helpful. The three um, self care, or even as the way I wrote it, I could call it three soft care, three self care. Try to do that 3 times a week, right? One of them, maybe you just pick the meditation, you do that 3 times a week. Or maybe the walk in nature is 3 times a week, right? That feels really self care. But again, have something soft in there, something that really is nurturing. And then in the hobbies, the things that bring you joy, but also kind of engross your mind and will take you away from your work stress. So I put, as I mentioned, dance, making art. Those are like my two main things that I came up with. Um, Hobby could be just watching educational videos, right? Could be watching movies. But again, to avoid really getting burnt out and becoming ill, we need these two things in our life, and they literally counterbalance burnout. Over obsession with work, with getting it done, with achieving, with how we're being judged. We need these balancing aspects. So let me know in the comments if this was helpful. This is an early video on my channel. So, few folks may see this early on. It may take a while for the channel to get traction. If you come in a year later, I still want to know, what do you do for your self-care to avoid burnout? And or what is a hobby that you could still stay engaged with to avoid, again, that over focusing, that over investment in work. If you'd like to work with me with the Mindful Meridian method, through Exhale Academy, the Mindful Meridian method combines mindfulness with meridian self massage, super balancing, and holistic. So the link will be below to book a free call with me, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye bye. Whoops.